back, and if you are interested in international news, and folks, if you I have longed for a shortwave radio, and now I know where I can get one at a good price. And Audrey is a good businesswoman, and she is confirming that this is a great arrangement.
It is. I have one, and it's sensational. You can go anywhere in the world that you want to pick up the news. It's terrific.
You listen to shortwave?
Yeah, I take it with me when I travel.
I've been curious about it. I've never made the leap, but I'm going to get it. I have this spot right here, and I'm going to call Guilford tomorrow and get one myself.
Because that's a great bargain.
All right, kiddo. I want to tell the gang listening in that we are very fortunate because this very gracious and brilliantly talented woman and very sweet woman who has written Love Alice, My Life as a Honeymooner, published by Crown, and which you can buy in bookstores now, and where you can receive a signed copy from Audrey Friday at noon.
12:30.
Right, 12:30. Where is that?
Barnes & Noble, 600 Fifth Avenue. It's the corner of 48th Street.
This lady is going to stay extra. She's not going to leave, not going to cut out of here at 11 o'clock because she's having so much fun with you people listening in. And maybe I can persuade her to do an original Honeymooners script that I had crafted. We'll try it. We'll wing it. Chuck, this is Jay Diamond here with Audrey Meadows. Hi.
Hi, Jay. Hi, Audrey. How are you both?
Just fine.
Audrey,
Thank you.
Let me tell you, first of all, this is like the biggest thrill that I've ever had talking to you. Let me ask you, you were on a show with Ted Knight?
That's right.
You played his mother-in-law. What was the name of that show?
Too Close for Comfort.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah. I was 5 years with Ted, and it was a great experience. I just loved him dearly.
And Jim J. Bullock also.
Oh, yes, JJ, yeah.
Okay, I mean, I have so much to ask you, but mostly I just want to say I really enjoy your work, and you're my favorite. I love the Honeymooners.
Me
Thank
too.
You so much.
Thank you, Chuck.
What area do you live in?
Jay. You're all right, too.
What area do you live in?
I live in New Jersey.
New Jersey. You're going to come over Friday, aren't you, to meet me?
I'll try and get there. I got to work, but I'll
tell the boss, call him up and you tell him you have a toothache.
He's not quite as big of a honeymoon fan as I am. Thank you for everything.
All right, Chuck.
Okay, have a good night.
Thank you very much. I don't know the actor's name, but it's the guy, Harvey, the big tough guy in the pool room. When you say Harvey's a lovely name, I didn't mean to insult you. He was a pretty well-known New York actor.
Yeah,
I think.
Yes.
Big guy.
They were all well-known New York actors. Yeah.
Well, I can't remember his name, but I was at 100 years ago. I knew a girl who was then my age, so then she was 18, so I must have been the same thing, or I'm maybe a year older than she is, and she was at the HB studio. And I think he's one of the big shots, or was then at that guy. I didn't know, but so I'm walking around in the vestibule prior to this performance. This friend of mine was going to perform at HB, and I see him, and I already was a Honeymooners fan, big guy, and I walked over to him and I did the whole thing, rubbed my hands on my mouth like Ralph. He said, Hoppy's a lovely name. Yeah. And he laughed.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And then, there's so many great character actors you had on that show.
Oh.
The guy who sells the cop, Grogan, when he comes to sell Ralph 2 tickets to the policeman's. But I think he's got, was that the time when you got criminals locking you up in the bedroom and the cop shows up?
Yeah.
And there you go, Grog, and there's more. Oh, no, I confused 2 episodes. He's in that one, too, the same cop. He plays the Irish cop. But when Ralph finds a suitcase full of money, Audrey.
Yes.
Yeah, and, well, Cramden, I guess I can put you down for the usual buck. He says, there you go, Grog, and there's more where that came from.
That's right.
Wow, Cramden, this was great. Thanks. I don't like to brag. All right. So many people want to talk to you. John, you're on with Audrey Meadows. Hi.
Yes, Audrey, it's a pleasure to speak to you.
Well, nice talking to you, John.
I've been watching the show since I was a child, but I don't recall when it first came on the air. Was it part of the show, wasn't it? It wasn't a sitcom.
It was not the complete half hour and eventually the full hour that we did. No, you're quite right. I was hired for every other week. And it was a sketch, and he did his other characters, Joe the bartender and Reggie Van Gleason and Charlie Bratton and all of those. And the poor soul.
I just want to say there hasn't been a funnier show on since that time.
Thank you, John.
Nothing compares. Thank you. It was a pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, you talk about his other characters, and they were all very comprehensive, well-delineated characters. And this man was a serious actor.
Very.
And he proved that in Gigot, Requiem for a Heavyweight.
Oh, absolutely.
The Hustler. And he was a serious actor. Did he get that recognition? Did people realize at the time when he made these films what a really great, serious talent that he was? You did. You were an actress. But did the public understand the dimension, the scope of this guy's ability?
They must have subconsciously recognized it because his popularity was unbelievable. We were number one in the country, you know.
Did he admire Charlie Chaplin?
Probably. I don't remember discussing that.
There's a lot of his reaction takes. He could have been a silent. In fact, he was silent as you go.
That's why he liked the part. He didn't have to learn anything.
Right. Even though he was a big man, Audrey.
Yes.
He was very graceful, very deft dancer.
He was so
beautiful.
light on his feet.
Right. Of course,
it was fun to dance with him.
And he wasn't always heavy, was he?
No, and he was very good-looking when he was thin.
Right.
Yeah, he was a good-looking man.
Even heavy, he was a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
He was beautifully dressed all the time.
Oh, immaculately dressed. with his carnation.
Right.
In the buttonhole. Mm-hmm.
Who named him, who dubbed him the Great One?
Orson Welles.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm, because Orson Welles one night was quoting Shakespeare, thinking he would put down this Brooklyn origin comic actor.
Right.
And Jackie heard him out, and then Jackie proceeded to go with one of the soliloquies from word go to perfection.
Right, he had almost no formal education, but he was very well read.
He was self-educated.
Yeah, and he was interested in everything.
Everything.
Politics?
Not so much politics, no.
He never talked politics?
He didn't talk politics, but he defended people during the what should I call it, the un-American activities thing.
Well, he
went to bat for different people.
He never let on the real reason why Pert Kelton was let go, which you could describe now.
Well, he also went to bat for Zero Mostel. Because a lot of people got hauled in that they really didn't have any proof, but they were looking for names because that would sell their hearings.
But they told you Pert Kelton was ill. He told you she was ill and couldn't make it.
Yes, because when I got the job, I said, they told me she'd been sick and couldn't work, and I said, well, I'll take the job until she's well.
Right.
But, and I'd be no problem with my leaving when she can come back. And they said, no, if you start with us, you stay with us. It was, I guess, almost 3 years later that I found out through a friend of Pert's that was not the reason, and Jackie was just not going to let this be continued and grow.
Right, he didn't want to let on to you that she was blacklisted. They couldn't
or to anybody else.
Right. So he protected her.
What she doesn't know isn't going to hurt her. No need to know.
All right, on WABC, this is Jay Diamond. Happy to be here with Audrey Meadows, Alice Cramden, who's written the book, Love Alice, My Life as a Honeymooner, published by Crown, available in the bookstores now. I have my very well-worn copy. I have read every word, and I'm going to read it again and again and again. There are some great pictures in here, Audrey. When I get back, I want you to explain to me how Marilyn Monroe happened to be coming here and the adventures you shared with Marilyn Monroe and Jackie's 40th birthday party.
Right.
Oh, how I wish I could have been there and helped you in that mission. On WABC.
Get a free second set of color prints at Grand Union Photo Center with proof of purchase from McCain French Fries. From now until October 31st, when you present proof of purchase from any variety of McCain French Fries at Grand Union, you'll get the second set of color prints free. McCain French Fries brings you the great potato taste you love in a French fry in a variety of shapes and seasonings designed to enhance any meal or try them as a snack. Anytime is a great time for McCain French Fries. Choose from crinkle cuts, classic cuts, steak fries, seasoned spirals, cross tracks, and a whole lot more. McCain French Fries are available in the freezer section at your local Grand Union supermarket. For more information, stop by your local Grand Union and see the Grand Union Photo Center and McCain French Fries display. Enjoy terrific McCain French Fries. And the second set of color prints are free only at Grand Union.
Hiya, Mike. What are you having?
Hi, Joni. Coffee, please. Oh, man, it is freezing in here. Hey, Tom, don't you believe in heat?
You want to see my gas bill? You wouldn't believe in heat either.
Joni, let me try a bowl with chili, huh?
Ooh, feeling brave today, huh, Mike?
Hey, what are you doing with gas heat anyway, Tom? Oil heat costs less. It's that way almost everywhere.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Hey, besides, you ever try calling that big bureaucratic gas company for service?
Tell me about it.
Yeah, kind of like the service in here.
Hey.
Hey, Joni, what'd you do? Send to Acapulco for my chili?
Relax. If you knew what it tasted like, you wouldn't be in such a hurry.
Hey, I've known my oil heat dealer for years. Great service. I bet you never see the same gas guy twice.
I'd be happy to see him once.
Excuse me, I couldn't help overhearing. My house has electric heat.
Oh, then you're really getting hosed.
Really?
Oil heat's a much better deal.
Sorry I asked.
Hey, Tom, why don't don't you switch to oil heat? You save a little money. Maybe I can get a raise around here.
Here we go.
Economical, efficient, and safe oil heat. When you know the facts, you'll agree. Today's oil heat.
It's just better.
Brought to you by the Metropolitan Energy Council.
Ed Koch.
My recipes permit artistry to rear its head, and people can salt, pepper, and add other condiments like horseradish.
We also added 1 teaspoon of horseradish to your blue cheese dressing recipe, and it was super, too.
Well, it's clear to me that horseradish is to you what garlic is to me.
Ed Koch, weekdays 11 till noon on Talk Radio 77. WABC.
Someday in the future, I'll make my book of Ed Koch recipes, and then the Jay will interview me. I don't need his interview. I have my own show.
All right, folks, if you are a real steak lover looking for the best, you might think that you have to go to an expensive New York steakhouse, such as Jackie Gleason might have attended, like Toots Shore. But the best steak you can buy is in Bloomfield at the Bloomfield Steak and Seafood House. Bloomfield Steak and Seafood is announcing the addition of outdoor dining on their new patio. Now, you can enjoy lunch, dinner, or merely cocktails if you prefer, al fresco at New Jersey's premier steakhouse. Great prime ribs, I mean the Jackie Gleason-sized cut, 24 ounces. The lobster bisque is so good people call in advance, well in advance. And, ladies and gentlemen, delicious lobster tails. You'll simply love the huge portions and affordable prices at the Bloomfield Steak and Seafood House off Parkway 148 in Bloomfield. Call 1-800-70-STEAK, or visit their sister restaurant, the Meadowlands Steak and Seafood House in Little Ferry. Bloomfield Steak and Seafood, Meadowlands Steak and Seafood. You simply will not find a better steak anywhere. 1-800-70-STEAK. I am privileged to be here tonight welcoming Audrey Meadows, who's written a book, Love Alice, My Life as a Honeymooner, which is in bookstores now, published by Crown. And Audrey Meadows will be signing this book Friday at 12:30 p.m. at Barnes & Noble on 5th Avenue, 600 5th Avenue. And I would advise you to be as lucky as I am right now by meeting Audrey in person Friday at 12:30 and buying this great book, which I will read again and again and again, not only for the pigeonhole view into the 1950s and the glamour of New York, but into the real character and multidimensional talent of what I think was one of the greatest showmen who ever lived, Jackie Gleason.
True.
And Audrey, I want to get to the phones, but I want to announce that we have, by virtue of a caller calling up, discerned who that actor was who played Harvey. It was George Matthews, of course.
Oh, of course. Well, I knew it was George. I just couldn't think of Matthews.
And he was associated with HB. I think he was on the board of directors over there, and I happened to see him one night in 1971.
Mm-hmm.
And Phil, you're on WABC. Audrey Meadows is here. Hello, Phil.
Hello, Jay. Audrey, it's nothing but a tremendous pleasure. But just quickly, your host, and that's you, Jay, you put on a tremendous interview.
Doesn't he? Yes.
We get such great information by your techniques. You push the right button.
Well, I hate to brag.
Audrey?
Yes.
Audrey, if I see that Chef of the Future for the 500,000th time, I roll over, I die laughing, and it's just a wonderful moment.
It can call Ray Apple.
I just want to ask you 2 quick questions. Did your career ever intersect with Ernie Kovacs?
Yes.
And what's your favorite episode of The Honeymooners, please?
I knew Ernie Kovacs and his wife, Edie Adams, who I see occasionally on the coast, and I loved Ernie. He was a brilliant, brilliant talent. Now, my favorite episode? I think my very favorite is the adoption story where we adopted the baby. And then at the very end, the mother wanted the baby back, and we had to return the baby. And the switchboard was tied up for hours and hours, I think over the whole weekend at CBS, with people calling in saying we didn't have to give the baby back because the storyline was so real to them.
That's very true. You had the touching moments are also as wonderful to recall. And since you've served 3 generations of viewers, I mean, they could play The Honeymooners in the year 2150, and I think it'll be just as poignant, just as wonderful as it is now. I'm just grateful to talk to you, Audrey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Phil. Good night. And I was going to ask you, and I will ask you, what your experiences were with Marilyn Monroe at Jackie's 40th birthday party, and you actually helped Gene Carney perform minor surgery on Marilyn Monroe?
Excuse me. Well, Jackie's 40th birthday party was everybody that you ever heard of anywhere, of course, was invited, and it was upstairs at the favorite watering hole, Toots Shores. And the star list was incredible. But when Marilyn Monroe appeared in the doorway, she was then married to Joe DiMaggio, everybody just, there was silence hit the room. There was something about that darling girl. She had a presence that when she entered the room, it was kind of like magic, and that very soft, wispy voice. And the men all kind of, you know, they were slathering all over and pawing the ground to just look at her. And I happened to go to the ladies' room to powder my nose or something with Gene Carney and Earl Wilson, who was a famous columnist here then, his wife, Rosemary. And we were in the ladies' room all putting lipstick on and stuff, looking in the mirror, when this ethereal creature, Marilyn, came in the door. And with a very soft, gentle, sweet little voice, she said, could you please help me, someone? And we looked at her and didn't know what the devil she needed, and because we didn't think she needed anything. And she said, I've got a splinter in my ASS. And we couldn't figure out how she got that splinter, but I can assure you that there was no underwear showing through, making lines on that skin-tight black dress she had. So somebody found a needle, and I offered my cigarette lighter to sterilize the needle, and Gene Carney performed the operation and removed the splinter from Marilyn's ASS.
I bet you'd have had a lot of volunteers if she couldn't handle it.
Oh, yeah. Jackie would have been the first one to volunteer the pin from his boutonniere.
He appreciated women.
Very much so.
He liked them.
He liked women. Mm-hmm.
So he not only, it's not that he just lusted after them, he enjoyed the companionship of women.
Yeah.
But he also liked women. You made that point in the book.
Very much so. Mm-hmm.
Who were his friends, Audrey? Who were his personal friends?
Personal friends? I think one of his best friends was undoubtedly Jack Haley. Don Amici was a good friend. He loved all the comics that were in New York. Everybody, Jackie Leonard and Phil Silvers and what's his name I just mentioned before?
Well, we'll come to mind. I can't recall myself now.
What the devil?
Well, that's it. You have so much to talk about. You can't remember specific names. But he liked, Leonard was a pal of his. Phil Silvers was a pal of his.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And who else did you say? Leonard, Phil Silvers.
I can see
his
him.
Hollywood pals. He was friendly with John Barrymore.
He didn't know him? Oh, he may have.
He did that great imitation.
Yeah.
I know he must have admired him.
Oh, I'm sure he did. Oh, yes, it did. Perfect, yes.
He bugged out the eyes like Barrymore.
Perfect pose.
Yeah. Did he do other imitations?
He could imitate, I think, almost anybody, and he probably did that in his nightclub act, which I never saw.
You didn't see the nightclub act?
No,
How did he become? What propelled him to stardom?
The offer to go on Cavalcade of Stars. Was that at Dumont?
Dumont.
Yeah.
What had he been doing prior to that? Just knocking around. He was doing nightclubs.
And I think he'd been in at Warner Brothers.
I saw a couple of his pictures.
Oh, yes.
Some were nondescript. He was with Bogart in All Through the Night. I know that.
And he was in a Navy movie.
Right.
And but they didn't know where to put him. They didn't know what to do with him.
I remember seeing him in that Navy picture. He plays some kind of a home defense captain in the home defense league there. And then with All Through the Night, he plays a character. I think his name is Sunshine. Mm-hmm. He's rather thin. This is 1941.
But you know, until a performer gets lucky, you work wherever you can get work. Because the thing to do is...
Telling me, what do you think I'm doing here? Just kidding. Just a gag. I don't mean it.
But you have to keep working. So you take whatever job is available. It may not be your goal, but it helps you reach the goal.
You talk about his characters. Mm-hmm. Now, he had Reggie Van Gleason, which was a swell. He wore that top hat.
Right.
But what was the one he did when he sold the Mother Fletcher's goods? He had that Mother... Remember, he had he was a barker.
Yes.
I can't remember the name, but I remember it as a child because my father used to watch that show. I was weaned on that, I guess, the Cavalcade of Stars. I don't remember what. I was a kid, 4 years old. But I had this fixation with the Mother Fletcher.
Mother Fletcher.
Woohoo!
Yes.
You know, and Johnny Carson ripped that off with Art Fern.
Yes.
Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
The Tea Time movie late. Wasn't that exactly the same as the one who sold Mother Fletcher's products?
Right.
And he had funny products.
Oh, yes.
All right, Bob, this is Jay Diamond with Audrey Meadows. Hello, Bob.
Hello, Jay and Miss Meadows. I'm sitting here getting goosebumps here, listening to all the reminiscing, and it's a pleasure to have you there. And
thank you.
One thing, you mentioned the name of a gentleman who 10 years ago created an organization, Mr.
Crescenti.
Crescenti, yes. And I'm looking at, I was fortunate enough to go to the second convention.
Convention, did you?
Yes, I did, and Mr. Matthews was at that convention.
Uh-huh.
And it was unbelievable, sitting in the audience, listening to whatever, maybe there might have been 500 to 1,000 people in the audience shouting, Harvey, Harvey. It was absolute, Jay, it was just unbelievable. And, the man was an elderly gentleman at the time, and he limped out. He was had a walking problem, and he came out with his cane. But it was, I guess, to a performer, something, that with all those accolades like that has got to be, for such a minor part, when you think of it.
That's right.
It's just got to be tremendous. Also at the convention, there was Rita Wiedemeyer.
Yes.
So it was, like I said, it was just absolutely terrific.
And was Joyce there?
I've got the second convention program with me. She's pictured in the first convention.
Yeah.
Along with a guy named Jay Jackson, who played the quiz show MC.
Yes.
Herb Norris.
Oh.
And Harvey's little friend.
Oh, yeah.
George. His name was Leslie Barrett.
Get out of here. I'll bend you into a pretzel.
You wouldn't say that if my friend Harvey were here.
There, go on and get your friend Harvey. I'll bend him into a pretzel, too. Get a load of that guy, Norton.
I guarantee you I'm going out and buy the book.
Oh, good. Come and see me if you can.
Yes, you should show up at Barnes & Noble on Friday at 12:30, and Audrey will sign that book.
I definitely will try.
She's promised me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
On WABC, this is Jay Diamond with Audrey Meadows.
Get ready for John Wayne, the way you like him best.
Walk around him.
I'll be hanged if I go out of my way for any cur dog.
Man ought to do what he thinks is best.
John Wayne as Hondo. For the first time on home video, the classic Western that critics call one of the 10 best.
When I give my word, I keep it.
And he gave his word even to the Apaches, hell-bent on killing him and all the ranchers in the territory. Get John Wayne as Hondo. Now available at all Musicland Sam Goody locations.
Let's talk straight talk. Today, a car is stolen every 20 seconds. You're worried. You need your car. You need protection. You need the Club, the only one proven product that protects your car. The police need your help in fighting car theft and recommend using the Club as an anti-theft device because the Club is tough to defeat, easy to use, highly visible, and affordable, still priced at under $60. Now, let's get practical. You may have heard of electronic tracking systems. Well, ask yourself this. Isn't tracking a stolen car after the fact? You want to prevent the theft before it happens. In reality, whether or not you have an electronic system, you still need the security of the Club. Police say buy and use the Club, and over 10 million car owners listened. Now they park anywhere feeling safe and secure. The bright red Club, it's beyond an accessory. Now it's a necessity. The Club, available now in designer colors as well, is available at better stores everywhere. But please, be aware of imitators. Remember, it must say the Club on the handle.
Are you really healthy? Or are you tired all the time? Do you have frequent headaches, aches and pains? Are you moody, anxious, or depressed? Is your memory and concentration getting worse? If you answered yes to even one of these questions, you're not alone. But you don't have to suffer anymore. Dr. Michael Toplisky, a medical doctor and nutritionist, has created the Wellness Program, especially for people like you. The Wellness Program involves easy dietary and lifestyle modifications and some nutritional supplements. The entire program lasts 7 weeks and is guaranteed to work. You'll learn how and what to eat, how to rid your body of toxins, and how to deal with stress and tension. The Wellness Program costs $59.95, but if you order now, you'll pay only $39.95. It's time for you to get well. Call 1-800-37-CHOICE. That's 1-800-372-4642 for the solution to your health problems. 1-800-372-4642.
Jay Diamond.
All right, back here on WABC with the great Audrey Meadows, who has written the book Love Alice, My Life as a Honeymooner, published by Crown. That's available in bookstores now. Audrey is going to stay over the news. This very gracious lady has agreed to keep me company here for a while longer, so everybody stay on the phone. Audrey, you mentioned in this book that the one thing that Jackie emanated was confidence, total confidence.
Total confidence.
He always had that?
From the first time I met him.
How would he manifest it? How could you just glean that from watching him, or was he in control of the whole show?
Well, now look, to hire an actress to play the lead opposite you and not have her read the script for you to see if she could perform it, and go through one quick little rehearsal before going on national television, he had the greatest faith in the whole world.
You never read?
Himself. No, he didn't ask me to read for him.
But you were already on TV. You'd been with Bob and Ray, so he knew you.
And I was on Broadway, and I had worked, everywhere.
He said when on his deathbed, you said thank you, and he said, I always knew what I was doing.
Yes.
I knew then, and I always knew what I was doing. Right? I remember you told that story. It's a very touching story, and we'll go over that when we come back on WABC with the great Audrey Meadows. This is Jay Diamond.
Once again, the Arbitron rated #1 talk radio station.
WABC, New York.
It's 11. Well, that'll tell you that my guest is and has been for the last hour the great Audrey Meadows, who's written the book Love Alice, My Life as a Honeymooner, published by Crown. It is available in bookstores now. I have read it. I will read it and reread it because of the beautiful stories that are recounted about New York, about show business, about Jackie Gleason, and about this wonderful lady who's sitting next to me in the studio tonight, this very talented and beautiful and gracious lady, Audrey Meadows, who was really a distinct part of American culture in the mid-20th century. And ladies and gentlemen, Audrey Meadows has agreed to stay with me a little while longer. And I meant to ask you, Audrey, about your interest and Jackie's interest in parapsychology and ESP. Now, I know he bequeathed a large library to, I think it was Stanford University, you say in the book.
No, University of Miami.
Oh, that's right, University of Miami.
Marilyn, his widow, gave them to the university.
Right. He had over 2,000 books.
Somewhere in that area.
And also when you knew him, back in the 50s, when you were working on the Honeymooners, this was an object of his interest.
Absolutely. He was fascinated with it, and he seemed to want desperately some kind of reassurance that there was an afterlife, that this wasn't just it.
Was it because his mother had died young and he'd never gotten a chance to be successful while she was alive? Did he ever say that?
No, I don't think that. Well, that could have been the reason. Well, I don't know the reason.
His mother died before it became a big hit.
But I didn't have any reason or death in the family that interested.
And you were interested in it.
Oh, for years and years and years. And my mother was very psychic, and I've had a lot of strange experiences.
I
just tell two of them in the book.
Yeah, well, you were in New Jersey.
In New Jersey, working in a musical stock company.
Right.
And a friend of mine who had been in high-button shoes with me came and joined the company. She auditioned and joined the company. And all of us rented rooms out there during the week, and we just came home on the weekend after the last show, Saturday night. So this lovely lady had one room left in her house. She had rented the others. And I guess I discovered why that one she kept empty until the last minute. And both of us liked a lot of air at night, and they were not windows that went up and down. They were the French window with that hand crank, and you had to really work it and crank them open, and we'd crank them open every night. Wake up in the morning, the windows were closed, and the room was warm, and it was getting us crazy. We thought, what is she doing? She must think it's going to rain every night, and sneaks in here while we're asleep and closes those windows. So we searched around, and we thought, how is she getting in here? And I saw a bookcase I hadn't even noticed, but it was by the left side by my bed, a low bookcase. And I said to Lila, my friend, I said, let's pull the bookcase over in front of the door. And if she comes in tonight to crank those closed, she'll knock the bookcase over. All the books will fall out. We'll wake up. We'll catch her in the act. So, laughing and scratching, we dragged the bookcase over and put it in front of the door. Went to sleep, woke up in the morning. The bookcase was there. Not a thing had moved. And then we thought, there's got to be a secret entrance here. We went around knocking the walls, everything. And stupidly, we didn't go and ask her. So we were so perplexed that the bookcase was still there that I went over and I was studying the bookcase thinking, how did she do it? And I looked at the titles. And there was a whole series for young boys called Tom Brown at Culver, Tom Brown here, Tom Brown there. It was a very well-known series at the time. And I thought, oh, boy, I've got the answer. So I went down to breakfast early because she made breakfast for us before we went to rehearsal. And her back was to me. She was cooking eggs and bacon for us. And very quietly, I called her by name, and I said, what did your son die of in that room? And her body just tensed. She froze. And I said, because I think he's coming back. And when she realized that I wasn't going to panic and pack up my things and go for another rooming house, she turned around and she said, how did you know? And I told her about the windows and seeing the bookcase and all. And then she told me about her son, and he had died in that room. And I said, well, I think he is somehow trying to let you know that he is fine. He is healthy. He's in perfect love area, and he's just wants you to know that he's okay, and you can just stop worrying about him, and you will see him again.
Had she ever thought that he might be manifesting himself prior to that story, or
she must have known about those windows?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Maybe she didn't, because she hadn't rented that room. She rented all the other rooms in the house.
Oh, they were all rented. You were the last room.
We were the last. She had kept that room empty. The leading lady had rented a room there, and there were quite a well, there were about 4 of us in the house.
Then you had a dream one night when you're out on the West Coast. You'd been, you'd known a doctor.
Yes, when I'd been very sick in the hospital here in New York.
Yeah.
And he was a young intern, and I had such a crush on him. Oh, God, he was adorable. And then I was out in California, and I wasn't a dream. I don't know how to describe it to you, but I woke up in the morning, and I saw a letter with his name and a brand new address in Maryland at the Bethesda Naval Hospital.
And you had not been in contact with him since you'd been hospitalized?
No. Nor did I know he had left the hospital. Nor did I know where he was going to go if he left the hospital.
So you saw this envelope when
I saw
you
the
woke
envelope,
up,
yeah.
And it had a specific return address,
Absolutely.
Bethesda, Maryland.
Bethesda Naval Hospital.
Right, all right, that's specific.
Yeah, specific.
Yeah.
And there was the letter.
When you went to see the mail.
That's right.
On that very day.
Same day.
That's extraordinary. And did you tell Jackie these stories?
Oh, yeah, we shared a lot of those.
He must have been gripped by it, riveted to it.
Yeah.
Had he ever had any experience like that he told you about?
Not in the same kind of detail.
Huh.
I've had quite a few odd things, and I'm a firm believer in angels.
Yeah, a lot of people say that.
Oh, yes.
Have you ever seen one?
No, I haven't, but I know they're around, and I know they protect us, and I know they direct us.
Is it just your feeling, just a confidence that you have, or has there ever been a manifestation?
I know it as if I had seen a million of them, and I have not seen a one, but I know it.
You know it. Now, Jackie also fancied himself a hypnotist, Audrey. Isn't that right?
Yes.
And I know he was very successful in putting you into a mesmerized condition.
Yes, that was so funny.
Tell me that story. I think that's the time he bothered you. He got you up from Virginia.
Yeah, that's the only time I really got mad at Jackie and discovered that he didn't like anyone that he was, a friend of, to be angry at him. He just couldn't stand it. And they'd gotten me up to... That was when we were doing the musical Honeymooners for an hour.
Yeah.
And we used to rehearse on Friday to learn the songs that we did on Saturday. Can you imagine learning your songs on Friday?
Incredible.
And doing them? Anyway, they called me for a rehearsal on Thursday. And I came to New York, got the phone call, rehearsal was canceled.
So you made the trip all the way up from Virginia.
So there's no point in flying back there and coming back on Friday. And I was so annoyed, and I guess they told Jackie I was annoyed. I said, I just don't think this is fair. So he got on the phone, and he said, I'm sending the car for you, and he's going to pick you up, and I'll meet you at Toots Shor's. I'll buy you a drink. I said, I don't want a drink. I don't want to go to Toots Shor's. I don't want to sit and talk to you.
Sounds like Alice.
And I tell you, he was a great con man, and he kept going and saying, you know, don't be upset and don't be angry and blah, blah, blah. And, of course, I said, okay. So we sent the car, went to Toots's, and met him. And we sat and had the most interesting conversation, really. That's another story by itself. So anyway, then we went to Romeo Salta's for dinner, an early dinner. And after dinner, he said, he said, we're going to go home. No, we went to 21 for a nightcap. It was still early. It was like 9 o'clock by the time we'd finished dinner. And he said, well, you've never seen my new apartment. He had moved to an apartment that I hadn't seen from the Park Sheraton. And I said, no. He said, well, come on, I'll show you the apartment. And that's when he showed me all these books he had on paranormal things. And so I said, well, Jack, you know, I got to get home. And so he said, well, I want you to call me as soon as you get home. The chauffeur will take you, but you call me so I know you're home all right. And I said, well, Jack, how will I call you? I don't have your phone number. Now I'm out at the elevator, standing there with the elevator door with my hand on the button, holding it open. And he said, well, I'm going to hypnotize you, and I will tell you my number.
Now, he wanted to hypnotize you. I'm sorry to interrupt you because he didn't like to divulge his home number, even to you.
Even to me. I never had his home phone number.
So he'd only reveal his number, but under hypnosis.
Under hypnosis.
But he was, of course, supremely confident, as you have heard,
confident,
that he could hypnotize you. Okay.
So now I'm standing there, and he said, you're getting very tired. You're getting very tired. Your eyes are closing. Your eyes are closing. They're closing tighter. They're closing tighter. You're very tired. You're going to sleep. You're going to sleep. And I wasn't going to sleep at all. I thought, how long is this going to continue?
Almost hypnotized me there for a minute.
Before he gives me the number. So finally he gave me the number, whatever it was. And I, you know, made a mental note, sort of said it to myself. And then he said, and on the count of 3, you'll wake up and you won't remember that I gave you the number, but you'll call me when you get home. And 1, 2, 3. And I smiled sweetly, thanked him for dinner, got in the elevator, got in the car, went home, dialed his number, and I said, Jackie, I'm home. It's okay, I'm home. And he said, how did you get my number? I said, I don't know. I just dialed it. I wasn't going to let him know. He didn't.
He never put you under, and you knew the number.
Oh, yes. Well, I wrote it down, as a matter of fact, and took a pencil out of my purse, or a pen, wrote it down to make sure I didn't forget it. I wasn't going to ruin his...
That story and many more like it, introspection into the life and career of Audrey Meadows with Jackie Gleason, is contained in the great book she has penned, Love Alice, My Life as a Honeymooner, out by Crown in the bookstores now. And Friday at 12:30 p.m. at 600 Fifth Avenue at Barnes & Noble, Audrey Meadows will appear in person, as she is right here in the studio with me now, and she will sign the book as you buy it. And I would advise you buy it because, ladies and gentlemen, I don't have time for many books, but I read this, and I read it again, and I will read it again and again and again. Be back with Audrey Meadows right after this on WABC. This is Jay Diamond, and more phone calls as well. All right, quick now. What's the hottest newspaper in America these days? To be here with Audrey Meadows, and I don't want to monopolize her any longer, so let me get to the phones again and welcome Morris on WABC. Hello, Morris.
Hello, how are you? I just want you to know that I enjoyed listening to you and speaking to both of you right now. And, Jay, your impressions of Bob Grant and Ed Koch and Al Sharpton and now Jackie Gleason are so great that you have no idea yourself.
Well,
I have another fan. My dearest friend is Jackie Mason, and he loves your Jack Benny and Rochester routines.
Oh, he heard that?
He did. He heard it 3 months ago, and he heard it recently.
It's an unbelievable thing. Next time I'm going to put him in there. Jack Benny's going to open the door, and all of a sudden Jackie Mason meets Rochester. It's an unbelievable... This is going to go crazy. This is going to be
pretty good.
All right.
He's great, isn't he?
He is great.
Do you want to talk? I know you want to...
And I've got a question coming up in a minute.
Okay.
Audrey,
Yes.
I spoke to my boss.
Yes.
That's me.
Yes.
And I'm going to be at the Barnes & Noble at 48th and 5th at 12:30 Friday.
Terrific, Morris. I'll be happy to see you.
And I just want you to know, we all watched these episodes. They were so wonderful. And to the point where I memorized so many of them. And I've studied the other actors. And we struggled to remember the name of Harvey.
Yeah.
Played by George Matthews.
Right.
But there was Bert Wiedemeyer. There was
That's
Mrs.
right.
Manicotti.
Yeah.
If we had the title credits of these people at the end of each show,
I know.
we wouldn't have struggled. Could you tell me why their names are omitted?
It's bothered the guy since the
well, Mrs. Manicotti, of course, was Zama Cunningham, who was just marvelous, and she played Mrs. Reggie Van Gleason. But I don't know. In those days, they didn't run long credits. Today, they run so long, they're almost as long as the show.
I know.
And you, Mrs. Manicotti, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. The mamba. I don't do a mamba, Alice. I don't do a mamba. I do dirty work.
And you remember Carlos, the dance teacher?
Carlos.
Charles Corvin?
Charles Corwin.
Yeah, from the Ship of Fools.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
Wonderful actor.
Great actor. All right, thank you. And Morris.
Morris.
Oh, look. So
I'll
Audrey,
see you Friday,
right.
Morris.
She'll see you Friday. And Morris, when you go there, so that she'll know you, I'm going to give you a shibboleth. Are you listening carefully?
Yes.
When you go walk up and Audrey is signing the books, you look at her and say, "Whoa, it certainly looks like rain tonight."
Okay.
Thank you, Morris.
Okay.
Don't forget.
All right, Joseph, here is Audrey Meadows on WABC. Hi.
Oh, my God. It is such an honor to speak with you, both of you, of course, but to speak with a living legend.
Oh, my goodness.
No, I'm not kidding. To speak with someone that I grew up with throughout my childhood. It is such an honor to speak with you. I love you, and I know that you and the show and the spirit of Jackie Gleason will endure for decades to come.
Oh, I love you, too.
Oh, my God. I can't believe you said that. Oh,
well, you can consummate this little incipient romance by appearing at Barnes & Noble on Friday at 12:30 p.m.
You can count on
but
it.
But bear in mind, this lady is a minister's daughter, so behave yourself.
Oh, no, I will, sir. I will.
All right.
I just want to say that... What do you think makes the show last so long? What is its eternal quality that appeals to so many people?
I think the fact that we had such great writing, but I think the fact that we always played true situations, very real. They were very real
and
people.
The characters were consistent with each
Throughout.
other. You didn't have extraneous political events out there.
No.
They are timeless.
Yes. Yeah.
They exist. They're a complete unit in and of themselves. There's no references to what's going on in the outside world, so they never become dated.
Right.
Right. Thank you very much, Joseph.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, Audrey, could you say hello to my sister Vanessa, please?
Yes, is she there?
Yes, she's there.
All right. Now you say hello to Jane.
Hi, Jane.
Fair is fair. Thank you very much, Joseph.
Yeah, Vanessa, hello.
Oh, okay.
I would just like to say my sister's hello, too.
Okay.
And I would just like to say, baby, you're the greatest.
Thank you. I'll see you Friday.
Okay, God bless.
Okay,
you too.
Thank you, Joseph. You know, it's a pleasure to bask here in your stardust and the way these people really, really love you. If you really want to appreciate the love of the audience, you should be on talk radio and get the anger of the audience sometimes. And then
really,
boy, but it is terrific. Even I'm enjoying this vicariously. How much these people all love you, Audrey. It really is. And you do have that stardust. And Ken, say hello to Audrey Meadows. Hi,
Audrey. It's a distinct honor.
Oh, thank you, Ken.
You are a legend. I must tell you that your delivery and your facial expression enhanced everything that Jackie said.
That's right. Her great deadpan, too.
Unbelievable. Now, my wife's favorite episode is when Ralph thinks he won the Raccoon of the Year. And he tells you that now we can be buried in the Raccoon Cemetery at Bismarck, North Dakota.
Yes.
And when you say, I always wanted to go out west, I don't know whether to live or die, I'm telling you, you're eternal and you've achieved immortality.
Oh, aren't you nice?
Style. And one more thing.
What?
I used to listen to Long John Nebel, and I know that Jackie was on his show. He used to show up at times.
Right.
You know anything about that?
No, but I know he did. He used to go around, and he loved to sit and just chew the fat with the different guys.
And I used to listen to Long John, too, of course. And I might have heard Jackie once or twice on there. I used to spirit the little radio as a very young kid.
Hide it in the bed at night.
I did, and because I was riveted to it.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Jay.
Jackie was a night guy, stayed up all night.
Absolutely.
You know, he was a big man. He loved to eat. You went to Romeo's Salt. What was his favorite food?
Anything.
He just loved food.
Yes.
He'd eat
good food.
No kidding.
That stuck to your ribs. Yes, enormous amount of food.
All right. Let me fit in a few more calls here and say hello to Bob. You're talking to Audrey Meadows. Hello.
Hello, Jay. Hi, Audrey. This is really a thrill for me to talk to you, Audrey.
Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to ask you a question about the Christmas episode.
Yes.
Yeah, the one where the great scene where he gives Ralph a tie. They give Norton and Ralph give each other a tie.
Still had enough money left over to get you a great present.
Yeah, he says, "Well, Norton, I know it came from your heart." "Oh, no, it didn't. Came from the Fat Man shop."
Yes.
I'd like to know about the ending of that episode because I remember seeing it for years, and they never showed the ending, and finally they showed the whole thing uncut.
Right.
And where he opens the curtain closes, and then he comes back and opens it. Was that like last minute, or did he plan that?
No, you mean where he told the ending?
Well, no, it's the only one where you break character. The Christmas show, you're all in your robes. And
yes.
He got you that little ersatz gift from the Emperor of Japan or something, little matchsticks concoction.
Yes.
And he's all disappointed when he finds out some girlfriend of yours who you hardly ever see gives you the same thing. And, he's contrite. He's
Trixie gave me the same thing.
That's right. That's exactly
before he gave it to me.
That's right. And then he's crestfallen. He feels terribly guilty, but you assuage his doubts and tell him that you love him. Baby, you're the greatest. Merry Christmas. And
I think that show ran late. Whenever we had to go out through the curtain is because we ran late.
Well, what he did, occasionally, they usually clip that on PIX, but once in a while he stops, he says, "I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Miss Meadows and Mr. Connie," and they. So that's the only time you break character.
Did he do that like last minute, or did you know about it, or?
No, he would do it on the spur of the moment. He'd suddenly think, "Gee, I better wish everyone a Merry Christmas."
All right, thank you.
That sounds like something he would do. But
exactly.
I hope I wish I could get to see you Friday. I have a class I have to teach around that time Friday in New York City, unfortunately.
So cut the class.
Well,
what's more important, your stupid class or going to see Audrey Meadows?
I'd love to see Audrey.
Don't you understand? Everything depends on this.
Say hello to all your students for me.
Take care.
All right, thank you, Bob. Let me fit in some more calls here. Hillary from Pennsylvania. Hello, Hill.
Hello, Jay. Hello, Miss Meadows.
Hello, Hillary.
This is very exciting. I love the Honeymooners. Here in Pennsylvania, in the Philadelphia area, it comes on around 4:30 in the morning, but I stay awake. And then right after that, it's Gleason's Greatest Hits. And you're terrific, and now I know what I want for Christmas. Your book. And I was just wondering, how did you ever manage to keep a straight face while Jackie Gleason and Art Carney would be carrying on? You put your hand on your hip with your apron. And,
That was very easy. When I read the script, when I got it Friday night, I would laugh, and I couldn't wait to get to work the next day because it was funny to me, Audrey. It is not funny to Alice.
Oh, that's a good one.
So, as Alice, she was very, very serious with those wonderful jokes that they wrote for me.
And it just made the whole thing work just so much. I mean, I don't know how you did it, but it was just...
Well, it was fun.
It was great. And this was a real thrill for me.
Before you go, Hillary, my dear, you say that they have the Honeymooners on at 4:30 in the morning?
Yes.
And after that, what do they have, the Best of Gleason?
Yes.
They don't have that on my TV set. Maybe someday I can come down there to Pennsylvania and we can enjoy it together, my dear.
That would be nice, Jay.
Wow.
I'll be listening to the rest of this show.
All right.
It's a real thrill. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hillary.
Bye.
Okay. Then there's that episode, Audrey, where he has this great discovery, this epiphany that if he says pins and needles, needles and pins, a happy man is a man that grits.
Never lose my temper again. Go ahead, try and make me angry.
Yeah.
Remember? And then that's, of course, the famous show where you're put out, you're dispossessed. He refuses to pay the rent increase, Mr. Johnson, and gets the marshal. You're bluffing. You're bluffing. Then he tells you you're the lowly seaman third class. I'm the Admiral, Alice. I'm the Admiral. And it's a great episode. It's one of they're all my favorite, but you're sitting out there. He has you freezing. And finally, he says he gives up, He says, but I'll do it because you know that I know that you know that I know how easy you catch virus. And then, right, and then you look at the camera and say, can you say it for me?
Pins and needles, needles and pins. A happy man is a man who grins.
That's it. That's what you said. Let me fit in one or two more calls. Joe, here's Audrey Meadows. We can't keep her too much longer.
I know. What am I mad about? Audrey, and you too, Jay, it certainly is an honor to speak with both of you.
Thank you.
I always thought I had the ultimate Honeymooners trivia question. I'd just like to run this by you.
You certainly.
In the episode where Ralph and Ed are playing the crossword puzzle, and, I think it was a 3-letter word for insect, and they said gnat.
Oh, yeah.
Nat Birnbaum? Is Nat Birnbaum George Burns?
I don't know.
I think you may have something there.
I believe his name was Nathaniel Birnbaum.
Maybe that's true.
Called him Nat.
Yeah, listen, that's a good trivia.
All right, thank you, Joe.
One other thing?
Yeah.
Please. The problem now, though, with Channel 11 is that the show is on too late. I think it's on at 12:30.
Yeah.
And the same with you, Jay. They got to put you back in the morning show.
No, not on your life.
I know, but you
that one week knocked me out. I was in an iron lung for 7 days after that.
I know you don't like it.
But you know how to get them to put it on earlier at PIX is write to the station and get your friends to do
it.
Well,
that's something we should tell everyone tonight.
That's right.
It really was a nice slot, the 11 o'clock slot.
That's right, a very good
slot.
slot.
The working man, Jay, for the 9 to 5er.
Yeah.
Well, you know, in the summer of 1966, it was on from 8 to 8:30, and then they played a second one from 8:30 to 9, a full hour.
Yes.
And you remember the summer of 66 as I do?
Well, I remember it was on a number of times.
It was on 8 to 9, 2 episodes.
Right.
And I was shattered when they moved it late then, but I'm elated that it's on now. And it's run how many years on PIX, Audrey?
Oh, my gosh. What is it, close to 40?
They are. It's incredible. And they are not dated at all. Every time I see them, they become more burnished.
They were so far ahead of their times, Audrey.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you very much.
Well, I've kept you along over the limit here, Audrey, but I just want to make clear again that the name of the book, and a great book it is because it is filled with life and love of show business, of Jackie Gleason, and your career and the fine people that have been part of your life in and out of show business. The name is Love Alice, My Life as a Honeymooner, and published by Crown. And this Friday at 12:30 p.m., get up to Barnes & Noble at 600 Fifth Avenue and meet Audrey Meadows.
On the corner of 48th Street and 5th.
Okay. Audrey, thank you very much.
Jay, it has been such fun. This time has flown by, and I just think you do the best Crampton.
Well, why don't you write another book? And then you can come back here again. I'll have a good excuse. So go home and start writing.
I'll come and visit with you anytime.
Will you really?
If you ask me back, I'll come.
You're asked.
Great.
On WABC, up to Mike Thompson at Shadow Sports.
Thank you very much, Jay. This report is brought to you by Bahamas Tourism, National Hockey League preseason.